Recording in progress.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Thursday, July 9th, 2026 Public Works Committee meeting. Can we have roll call, please?
Alderwoman Tice.
Here.
Alderwoman Gold. Here. Alderman Meyer.
Here.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Yeah, next is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes? Seeing none, can we approve by acclamation? Shall do that then. Moving on to citizen comment. Anybody in the room wishing to speak for 3 minutes? Anybody online?
None online.
Move into reports of committee chair and alderman. I have no report. Alderwoman Tice.
No report.
Alderwoman Goode. No report. Alderman Meyer.
No report.
All right, so now we'll move into department reports and start with Public Works Department. Dan, you got a report for us?
Have the mostly usual department updates for various projects. So McKnight Road, they TAPCO, the people that sold us the sign and that and installed it as part of their pilot program, they put a update in there. It seems to be working okay. I haven't noticed anything out of the ordinary. I'm going to test it probably. I did test a little bit today, but I didn't get through the whole thing on the Tilla side, but the Brentwood side seems to be working now.
Could I ask a question on that
Yeah.
before you move to the next one? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So it seems to flash for a really long time. How many seconds do you have
It's
it
programmed
flashing?
at 24 seconds.
So
and-
that's a really, like, there are so many times that you drive through and you look and there
Yeah.
aren't people even close.
I
So-
can dumb it down to like 10, 12, and cut it in half. Because I don't know how long it takes the average person to walk across.
Or even like 15, but that, whatever it is way too long now. And so I think that when
It
people
was
drive.
at 30 and I ratcheted it down to 24, but I can lower it even more.
Because I think when people drive through and don't see people walking across, that desensitizes them to it, and they'll just go through when there actually are people. So if that would be a great.
Okay, yeah, I'll put a new request in because I can go into the software, adjust it, and then hit apply, and then I don't know how long it takes, but it should update it. Then just go out there, hit it, run a stopwatch, time it, and see what it does.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Okay. So that will take care of that. 2832, 2828 Manderley. The contractor did provide us with block samples. We delivered those to the resident, and she actually likes those. So there's a earth tone. It's considered like a tumbled texture, so it's like roughened, more like stone, instead of the others were more like just regular block. I told him to go ahead and give me a new quote with, there's no charge for the color or any of that, but it's been about a year or so since we got the original quote. So I just said I need something more current so that I can present it, to the committee and board. So we should be getting that here pretty soon. The Russell retaining wall, that was already board approved. The contract was sent back to the contractor, and we're just waiting on him to give us a date whenever they're going to start so that I can give the resident about a day's notice or so before they move out. And then that's going to be done hopefully here soon in July. And I know it won't take him too long to get that done since it's poured concrete, not block. Manchester Road, still waiting on that control cabinet on the north side. That's like closer to Dorothy. It's supposed to be here sometime in July. So fingers crossed it'll be here this month. And then they'll put the cabinet in and that'll get those 6 lights working again. I know the other 2 replacements, one near the Rock Church, the other by the self-storage, those are here at the electrician's shop. He called in locates, but they're still not installed. So I would expect any day now those will go in. Hampton Creek, that was just for information. The project is postponed. Looks like it'll start in 2027. They told us to contact them later in 26, and then MSD will hopefully have an update. The Webster Groves Trunk Sanitary Relief Phase 2. Bates, I know, is supposed to work sometime this summer and complete the job by fall of 27. I don't drive down that way, but the few times I did a week or so ago, I didn't see anybody doing any work. So I would expect them any time now to start doing their work in order to meet their deadline. Pine Avenue, we actually distributed the survey postcards to the homes in the mid-block of Pine. So it'd be near 8911, 8910, going east to Brentwood Boulevard. I know, speaking with the communications manager, of the 16 households so far, we have like 13, which is unusual. We have that much of a response back already. The survey itself doesn't close until July 15th. Once I get the final results, I can bring it to the board. see if it's yay or nay. Litzinger Road restriping. We had confirmed that St. Louis County was going to do St. Louis County's portion. Rock Hill is doing its portion. They actually already repainted the white. If you're going between Bremerton and McKnight, they painted the shoulder. And I don't know when exactly they'll repaint the yellow striping, but I would expect that to be soon since they already did the white. Our staff is out there doing Parkside, Tillis, the side streets, doing crosswalks and stop bars. So we're just trying to get all our work done. We did get a new proposal from the vendor. The original proposal was for all three entities, and ours was $5,450. With just us included, just Brentwood, it's $100 more, so it's $5,550. We can do a CRA on it and actually get the work done. I don't think it needs to go to the board. It would just be something that if you want us to do, we can bring that along.
So I guess my question on the striping, if Rock Hill is doing it, or is it the same level of striping that we would be paying for, or is this a nicer, like reflective yellow material, and will they
I
not
believe
make?
has the reflectorized beads in it, just like you would see along county roads and, state roads.
So does theirs have those reflectorized?
I didn't see that when I drove through there today to go look at the crosswalk. I can't really tell. I mean, it needs to be dark and headlights need to be broadcast across there to see if anything is reflectorized.
Well, I can check that in the next few days. But I guess my question is, now we're paying more to do this, and it may not match what Rock Hill is doing if they don't have if they don't have those beads in it. So is it, I mean, the white line on the side, I don't know that it matters, but in the middle, if the yellow lines don't look the same, it seems a little strange. And there's one particular resident who's been talking about this for years, and like, we really need to restripe this, so
Yeah.
whatever we need to do to move it forward, but
The quote does say that it has the beads. I thought it did. It's a type class P bead. It says used when needed. So I guess I'll have to ask for clarification on that. Like, where would you need it? Is it just at the center line, the shoulder, both shoulder and center line?
I guess, I mean, it just seems odd that the center line would be two different yellows, if in fact that's
It
the
would be the
case.
same color yellow, but what I don't know is if theirs would have the beads. If you'd see ours reflectorized on one side and theirs like dull on the other, I don't know. But I can ask them.
Ask them.
Yeah, that's the easiest, is just to ask them what they're gonna use.
Because I'd love to get it done, it seems like it should match.
Is there some federal standard for what they're supposed to use when they do striping?
This is a low-speed road, but I mean, I know when we do crosswalk stop bars, we try to use the beads. They're just like in a bucket, and you broadcast those on the wet paint, and they stay embedded until they wear away. This is a truck that paints it, so I assume it's like in a hopper or something, and it's dropped, some sort of uniform fashion.
Well, I guess, yeah, find out from Rock Hill.
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask them if they use the beads.
I guess my question is, if they haven't,
Have they painted the yellow lines?
They'll paint their side. The south side will paint our side, which would be the north half. They haven't done theirs whatsoever,
okay.
correct?
We'll need to quickly talk to them.
Yeah.
yeah, get some coordination there on,
Yeah, I can send them an email right now and just say, hey, when you do this, what are you doing? Are you going to reflectorize it, yay or nay?
Well, could we send direction if they are doing the reflector beads, that you could move
I'll ask
forward
them
with
to,
this?
because that's what we want on ours.
yeah.
Rather than let it sit for a month. So assuming
Yeah.
that they're using reflector beads, we can move.
They were, yeah, I think because we kept pushing them to jump on this and get it done all at once, so.
Thank you for that. I know will be one in particular, very happy resident, but I've heard from multiples, but there's one I have heard from
Oh,
over
that's
the
good.
years, so thank you.
Yep. Any questions?
Else for Dan? Michelle?
Just reiterating earlier question, Litzinger, the sign or actually Lower Rosalie on the bottom, the flashing sign.
Oh, yeah.
I believe you have a battery ordered for that.
Yeah, it's the radar-enabled speed limit sign.
Yes. Ballpark idea of when that's coming in, or still just
I
waiting?
do not.
Okay.
But yeah, I know that was the original and it's dead, so it won't recharge till it's replaced. It's several years old. If I were to guess, it's probably 6 or 7 years old.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you,
Thanks.
Dan. On the Parks and Recreation Department, Eric?
Evening. Just a couple quick things. The first is the fact that the city received a request from the Library Construction Committee. They were hoping the city would consider either purchasing bike racks for the library or a bike fix-it station. They've already ordered their bike racks, cost is $1,800. A new fix-it station would be a little bit more than $2,000. They did say that, there is one down in front of the library now. They'd be happy to have it moved over if the city's willing to entertain that, because that fix-it station was something the city purchased and installed themselves. So I guess this is something we're asking for direction on. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
The bike, I see kids with the bike racks. Oh. Has anyone been using the Fix-It station? I see kids with bikes, but I'm not sure I've ever seen anyone use the Fix-It station.
I could not tell you that. That's downstairs, and we don't have cameras on that, so couldn't tell you off the top of my head if it's being used or not. I do know when we first installed it that people were happy, and I do know at the time there was a couple people who used it right away because they're like, oh, we used it. But I couldn't tell you what the regularity of that is.
I think with the location where it is right now, if the library's gone, I don't think it's going to get used much at all. And it's in good shape. I was just looked at it tonight. All the tools are there. It's still got its finish. It's just a matter of unbolting and bolting someplace else.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be, I don't know what the committee thinks, but just relocating it over to the library when they're ready for it. Oh, well, somebody want to make a motion to what to do with this thing?
Yeah, so I agree with that. I mean, they've already ordered the bike rack, and they're doing a major construction project, so I don't know that it's really the city's job to buy something that's on the library's property. We wouldn't do that for, if I wanted a bike rack in my driveway. But I think that there are probably going to be a lot more people biking and using the Fix-It station over there, so
like everything else that the library has asked for, the phones, for instance, what's coming next are the copiers. The city could consider selling it to them, which then it becomes theirs. And if it needs repair or maintenance or a new one, then they would undertake, that expense. And since it's been, so then the discussion becomes, do we sell it to them at cost or depreciated value? Because if you say we no longer have use for it, and they have need for it, then the city could give it to them at a cost, and then it becomes theirs. Because I wonder if the city were to make a decision to put it there, and if it broke down or it wasn't working, then they think they could call to have us continue to, help them with that. So those are other things that you all could possibly think about.
I did.
Go ahead. I think that we should just sell it to them. I mean, that way it's not ours anymore, and it's theirs, and they're responsible for it.
I didn't realize we could move it, so if we can move the existing one and not have to purchase a second one if we don't think people will use it here afterwards, and that's a higher use location, yeah, I'd be okay. I think you make a good point on long-term maintenance and replacement costs.
Sounds like a motion. Somebody want to make a motion to offer to sell the existing bike station?
I make a motion to sell the existing thing to the library.
Fix-It
The
station.
fix-it station, yeah.
I'll second.
Should staff just decide that?
Can't you guys just negotiate something?
Yeah, just, I
I
mean,
mean, it's,
Are you sure you want us to do that? We can. Eric, what are you
I
thinking?
do it.
because
I would think we would look at it, some sort of depreciation value based on the number of years it's been there.
yeah.
I don't
yeah,
think it'd be all that much, to be honest, so I think it'd be okay.
That'd be reasonable.
And with the
yeah.
idea, and that they would now be responsible for maintaining it going further after the sale.
Sounds good. And if
All in
they,
favor of that?
Yes.
I'll second it if you need a second.
Say aye.
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 All right, so the Gateway Fountain, we finally had a representative from American Lake Detection come out on Tuesday. And so they did a series of tests, isolated a lot of things. He is convinced that there is a leak or multiple leaks in the main supply line between the backflow, which is where the water comes in from Missouri American Water, and to the vault, which is where we then basically splits off to the fountain. So that's about a span of 25 feet. And he's also concerned that the liner, there might be a tear in the liner in the basin too. And so he is going to provide us a full written report in the next 2 weeks, he says. And once we get that, we'll digest that a little bit more, and then we'll probably come back and let you guys know some more information. But the two things he did kind of talk about is his first recommendation is instead of trying to locate in those leaks and repairs, that it'd probably be easier just to replace that whole line. Even if it was a leak or the replacement, that's not something staff could do. So we'd have to work on, get a quote from a contractor anyway, whether it's a plumber, whether it's something that, we have Castle on an on-call, at least to be able to get a quote to bring back to you guys, because I don't think it's going to be cheap. And then he then also recommends filling up the basin. That's obviously difficult to do without water. We can do it, we would lose so much water, it'd be basically wasting water. So we're looking at other ways. Can we pull something straight from the backflow with hoses? That would take a really long time. Can we partner with the fire department, help them, help us just kind of get it in? Those are things we'll look at for that as well. But basically, it's more of this is what we found out on Tuesday, and we'll be bringing back more information probably next month, so.
No question, Michelle?
Early to ask if the bill gets out of control, do we want to keep it as a water feature?
I think that would be the conversation we have once we find out repair costs and things like that, so.
It's just sounding very expensive, and your horticulturist has been doing a fantastic job at other places, so I don't know if fountains can get very expensive, so.
I'm sure Bola could give us a little bit more of the background of that fountain.
I'll save that for another day.
Perfect,
Okay.
perfect.
I'm just seeing dollar signs, and I was like, ooh, that could get real pricey really fast.
Understand. That's kind of what we thought too, so. But we'll have more information hopefully for the August meeting, so. The semi-quincentennial, I've worked on that word a lot, so I'm very proud. So we've done a couple things. Obviously, we're doing a lot about the semi-quincentennial and different programs throughout the month. But we also did a couple things. We put out 250 pinwheels around Brentwood Park around the 4th. Organically, the idea was kids and parents could take some. They have. We do have some left over that we're going to give away at either Friday night, the family night at Brentwood Park tomorrow night, or some other events, so that they continue to have a use. And then the second thing we talked about was kind of the idea of doing maybe like a coin hunt. And so we got $250 coins from West Community, and the idea would be start to hide those in probably $25 to $50 increments, starting tomorrow night again at family night in Brentwood Park, and then doing every other Friday, and just kind of being like a picture of like, hey, if you know where this is, you can start hunting for some dollar coins. So something small, hopefully fun, organic, and kind of will get people out and see our parks. And also not just Brentwood Park, we do every other park too, so that way it kind of get people to go to some of our other parks as well. Urban Chestnut, so last night was our second week. We feel we're happy with the way things are going. Urban Chestnut is understanding that this is a process. They actually were really happy with the first week. Our location beat, our sales exceeded those of their Midtown Brewery and Beer Garden, which is a brick and mortar with a full beer garden. So they were really happy about that. And last night, we wish more people come out, but we understand. We continue to kind of talk. They seem to be interested in partnering with Brentwood for a long term. And so that's what we're really interested in. They will have their August dates. We'll be going to the Board of Aldermen on the 20th for approval. And we kind of see them as, hopefully doing it, this way through this summer, and then really kind of talking about maybe doing something like a holiday pop-up in the winter, and then maybe seeing what we can do moving forward. Again, they actually chose Wednesday nights. They wanted to kind of start slow. They didn't want to get slammed on a Saturday afternoon. So this was kind of by their design. So we're real excited that they're kind of interested in organically building what we think is going to be a great time. And next Wednesday is going to be a trivia night. So if you don't have anything going on, come out, trivia. They have a local guy who does trivia all across the city. So he'll come out with trivia and we'll have a good time. And then Brentwood Days. A couple quick things about Brentwood Days. We talked about the fact that our theme is now Route 66. And one of the things, as we talked about, was that Carl's is one of the remaining buildings on Route 66 when it came through Brentwood. So we're gonna move the parade route this year. Michelle Boyer has already talked to Carl's. They're interested in being a part of Brentwood Days. I think not only just the parade, but doing some other stuff with us. So we're kind of working with them through that. But the idea of kind of going by there and celebrating them as we do our parade, I think is something that we're excited about. Also, we'll start looking at selling. We've advertised wristbands, but we usually don't get anyone who really starts thinking about it hard until August. So we'll start really kind of pushing that hard through social media, and it's in our brochure that will be coming out. So that will people kind of get them to remind them about the wristbands. And then last is, we talked about this last year a couple times, the drone show. Obviously, it got canceled last year. So it's the show that we had last year has been rescheduled for this year at no cost. And so that is some cost savings for this year. So we're excited about that. And it is a really good show. It's about sustainability, which doesn't quite match the theme, but it's still a really cool show. So we're excited about that. That's it. All right. So a couple quick things about sustainability. At our last meeting, the commission really discussed an idea of maybe hosting or partnering with Perennial of doing something called like a repair fair. So the idea is that you have volunteers who come, it has specialties in things like woodworking or clock mechanics, things like that. And then you'd be able to advertise what those are. And then you'd be able to bring in items from your house instead of, throwing them away. Maybe you can work with someone for up to a certain period of time to see if they can either help you fix it or at least give you the tool so you can go home and fix it. So it's a way to kind of reuse instead of wasting. I know one of our commission members actually talked to Perennial this past week, so they are interested in working with us. So we're hoping that will be a good event, probably in September for Sustainable September. This idea of maybe doing that. And again, if we're still having Urban Chestnut come out, maybe we do it on a Wednesday night, do it right at the same time that Urban Chestnut's there, and kind of cohesive with that unit. So that's the first thing they did. We're also talking about an anti-idling ordinance. It's something the city's talked about for a while. Obviously, greenhouse gas emissions is how to reduce those is a big concern. The city did a greenhouse gas emission report 10, 15 years ago, 15 at this point, 'cause before I got here. And so it talks about the effects of idling. And so we looked at a lot of different idling ordinances from different municipalities, Clayton, Creve Coeur, the city, the county, U-City. And really, most of them are basically the idea of limiting idling to 3 to 5 minutes, except for emergency vehicles, and then possibly also depending on extreme temperatures, whether you need to warm up your car in the morning or if you're just running into someplace and it's this time of the summer. So that's what we're kind of looking at. We'll model some of those things. They gave us kind of a path forward, so we'll take that. We'll work on that, and we'll take that sustainability for them to review, and if they feel like it's worthwhile, obviously we'll come to the Public Works Committee for discussion and approval before going to the board. And then last, I just kind of put this in there. Michelle actually gave an update at Sustainability Commission about the success of the recycling events, and so I just thought it'd be interesting, or thought it'd be great to kind of let you guys know how we're doing. So. Obviously, you kind of see, looks like each one of them has over 200 cars. The paint recycling for the first time, 5,000 pounds of paint recycled. So, and the good news is that Brentwood seems to be the highest use of all these. So, just thought it was interesting and thought you guys might want to know.
I'll just add a comment that on the recycling, the members, different members of the Sustainability Commission volunteer because we got a grant from St. Louis County to pay for it. So on top of their good ideas at these meetings, they're also spending extra time on the weekends and are planning to sort of staff the rest of these volunteer events. Michelle was at the paint one, but she was busy getting married at the earlier ones, and other people from the commission went. So it's we have great citizens who are involved in helping make our city better.
Eric, did you get any feedback from the company that was performing the paint recycling?
Yeah, I mean, from what we heard, they're really happy. Good news is, we had in our mind a certain amount of, we had 50 free gallons to start, then you had to pay after that, and we had, we didn't pass our threshold for having to pay or having to have residents. I mean, residents who did paid, but was within the confines of what we had for the grant. So it seemed to go pretty smoothly. Some people, I think what the commission said is really only like one contractor came. Yeah, it kind of had a lot, but it was willing to pay for all his stuff, so that was great.
I was actually there. So the one person who's a contractor, it was so expensive that he ended up not bringing it, and it's designed for household waste, so that we really couldn't accept it. But people were so happy. A lot of people came through like, it's been in my basement. I'm so glad to be rid of it. I couldn't believe how enthusiastic people were to come and get rid of paint, and some people were under the 30 pounds, but a lot of people paid and were willing to pay just because it was close and easy to be rid of. But really, like, such happy residents. It was neat to watch. So.
All right, well, thank you, Eric.
Great, thank you.
Move on to planning and development. Whitney, you got a monthly report for us?
For the month of June, there were 250 building permits and 1,108 inspections. Code enforcement had 37 new code enforcement cases and 129 inspections. Planning and Zoning Commission met last night. The extra space storage boundary adjustment conditional use permit and site development plan was continued to site plan subcommittee on July 29th. Titanium Fitness conditional use permit was continued to the August 12th meeting. Business license, we are up to 602 active business license, with 3 issued last week and 13 are awaiting payments. There's approximately 40 that have not started the renewal process, so we're getting out the violation letters to those. Contractor registrations are up to 1,749. Contractor credentials, and I know there's been some issues regarding a property on Eulalie. We are looking at our zoning code on how we can, I'm sorry, not the zoning code, but the building code, and how we can provide more teeth to the enforcement. But we do have to look at property rights, state and federal laws. So we are researching that and see what we can propose to you next time. Let's see. Architectural Review Board on July 16th has been canceled. We did not get an application for that meeting, but we are anticipating some for the August 20th meeting. And then next week is Board of Adjustment. I'm sorry, not next week, the week after. Is the 23rd, and we have 5 items on the agenda. So.
Sounds like you're going to be busy.
For looking into the Eulalie house.
Okay.
Move on to the consent agenda. We have the minutes from our last meeting, June 9th. Once again, can we go ahead and do it by acclamation? Seeing no changes? All right, then it would be approved by acclamation. Move on to old business. We've got the Douglas Court and Mary Kay Court solar lighting.
Yeah, this item was brought up a couple meetings ago and brought back, but I believe Alderwoman Goad was not here. So the question became, I did find a company, it's Leotech, yeah, that makes a post-top colonial lantern, if this is something that is closer to what we're desiring, because the ones like in York Village are no longer manufactured. So those have the solar panel that's on the side of the post. These, I can't tell from the cut sheets or anything, but I'm assuming that the solar collectors are on top of that black colonial top. But if these look like something you'd want to pursue, I had reached out to the company to try to get quotes. And I can bring those back. I know some of the features, you can either do like a clear pane across the four faces or a frosted. I know that they do actually have the color temperature that matches the code, 2700 Kelvin. It's a black, I believe it's aluminum is the metal that's used on the post top. So I think it'll look close, but if you don't like them, then I won't pursue it.
I think they look nice. A lot of neighbors have hardwired in their front yard lights that are somewhat similar to this in look, so it would blend in with some of the properties surrounding it, especially on Mary Kay. And I did show it to one resident on Douglas, and they thought it was nice. So
If I may interject, I think you heard from a resident on Douglas Court who said he voted against it. Do you remember that?
I can't remember. I know that at one time, like Douglas Court didn't want any lights. I know that they support it now.
I think this resident is asking, and you haven't made a decision on where you're going to place the lights, but he has indicated that he will not approve it in front of his house.
No.
We've had that experience in Ward 1, too.
Right.
That's right.
I was going to say it's a circle, so it's kind of in front of multiple houses.
I was like, good to
Yeah.
know. I believe the vote was like 18-2.
Yeah. Yeah, where we planned on putting it was like more towards the front of the circle. That way it's less likely to get struck versus if you go around the circle sweeping to your,
House.
I don't know which his house is.
I'll
but
send you the email.
Yeah. Yeah, I just knew it would be like about midpoint of the circle, but more towards the front of the circle.
I also know.
I know
neighbors
these
in
are
both
adjustable,
want to keep the
too.
trees, so I also know that's going to help too.
Yeah.
Maybe, depending where the person lives.
Yeah, because you can adjust the intensity up and down, and I know worst case, you could frost if you went with the frosted panel, you could black out one side. I've seen that before. We've actually done it before where we blacked out the back of a light because complaints. So,
Just know it's coming.
Thank you for the heads up. I would make a motion that we proceed with costing on
okay.
getting prices. I think they're nice with what else
I'll
is in
second
Brentwood.
it too. Yeah, I think this is perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Get your marching order on
Alright.
that.
Clarification, so are you guys just going to order it or is it going to come back here for final review?
No, I was going to bring the quotes and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because, I mean, what we could do is if you wanted to, we could buy just one and then put it like here at City Hall or.
I don't think it needs to come back.
I
Don't we
wouldn't
have a
think so.
capital?
We do, yeah, it's, yeah.
No, it
would be
doesn't
under
need to
streets
come
and
back.
Sidewalks,
Yeah.
that's where you, like speed cushion, streetlights, those all come
Once
under that
there's
line.
agreement and approval on the type, the design, I think you can take it forward.
A neighbor in Douglas Court asked when they would be installed.
Okay.
Yeah, because if we do buy a group, then we could put one, I wanted to put one like next to where the firefighters park because those had shorted out and do it as a test before you roll it out to the neighborhood, just. Okay.
All right, moving on to item 7B, which is temporary parking lot.
Yeah, we brought this numerous times through the committees and boards. So the 180-day permit extension is soon to expire. That'll be July 25th. So to get it ahead of the board, before it expires, it would need to go to the board on July 20th, which is coming up. So we would need a motion and approval to move it from committee to the board for another 180-day extension. I know since the last time we've made improvements to the north parking lot, we've graded, we've added seed and straw. I know that the dust control is going to be added. You know, there's different things that have happened since the last permit extension. But this is for both the north and south lots, the temporaries that are used for Brentwood Park.
Possibly silly question, can we just make it 5 days? Because I'm guessing with all of the development on Manchester, we're not gonna,
I think the code only allows 180.
okay.
I wish we could.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Opposed? Doesn't sound like it. Move on to item 8, new business. We've got fees for parks and recs, amenities.
So I don't know if you heard me whistling back there. It's budget time, the most wonderful time of the year. So we are starting our budget process for the city, and in Parks and Recreation, that always starts with fees and charges. So every year we look at all of our fees and compare them to what other cities are doing, other recreational opportunities, if it's similar, like private ice rinks or those type of things, and making sure that we're in line with what people are doing. Also considering ongoing costs and things like that. So as you guys know, if you've heard, things are expensive these days. And so as costs continue to rise, not only just ongoing costs, but if you think about utility costs is 5 to 10% every year, operational expenditures still rise. So we're trying to balance, making sure that we provide a quality amenity at an affordable price, but also making sure that we are being good stewards of the city's taxpayers' money. So when we looked at it this year, we did have some recommendations. The big ones to kind of go through our meeting rooms. We kind of found that our bigger rooms, which are A and C, could go up, or we're in line to go up a couple dollars. So 65 on room A would go $5 an hour for residents, and that's additional $10 for non-residents. Meeting room B was in line with what a lot of other places were doing, so we didn't feel like we should increase that. But we did feel like room C, again, could go $5, increase $5 for residents and $10 for non-residents. So the other thing we looked at was the fact that we don't charge a non-resident rate for the galley kitchen, and we feel like we should. We charge non-resident rates for everything else. And so the galley kitchen is out off of meeting room B, so it's kind of a small kitchenette area. If you kind of want to use it, if you're in meeting room B or meeting room C, you guys can rent it for the duration of your rental. So we just wanted to add the non-resident fee to the galley kitchen. The ice rink is kind of the big thing. We continue to be well below what private rinks are charging. If you look at the Maryland Heights, the Centene, and then the Maryville ice rink down in Chesterfield, we're still $50 below what they charge on a regular basis. And we like to be kind of there because we want people to go out there and be like, no, we don't want to pay those fees and come back. All the municipal rinks are really at what we are recommending, which is that $300 to $320, or that $300 for a prime time, which is basically early in the mornings and then evening times. And then the non-prime, which is really your midday, we feel like $210 is a good spot. And then we do want to increase the party package for our ice rink, for our party package rooms, mainly because food price has gone up. So we want to make sure that we increase that a little bit so that we aren't losing money with the increase in food costs that we're getting from Domino's as our pizza vendor. The next one is the dog park. We have not increased the fees of the dog park since we opened in 2017. We are below most places. If you look at Clayton is at $80 a resident, $120 for non-resident. Maryland Heights is at $40 and $70. And then if you look at like Southwest Dog Park, which is in the city, they are $70 and $80. We don't want to go up too much, but we felt like we could go $5 for the first time, and that would help with things like when we have to replace turf like we did this year, and when we have to put in new granite. It's those type of things that hopefully we see. So that was that recommendation. And then last is the park rentals, the park pavilions. Looking around, it feels like we can go up a little bit based on what everyone else is doing. And then the big one is still the playground pavilion, which is the one that is rented just most days throughout the summer. You will not be able to find a weekend, a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday at that playground pavilion from now until September, the end of September. And a lot of that is just because it is a high destination. People want to bring their parties there because you have the playground and then you have the water feature right next to it. And so it's a unique playground. It's a unique pavilion, and so we feel that we can go up a little bit there too. So those are our recommendations. We always talk about our program fees. We always look at our program fees before every program. We basically look at what we expect our expenditures to be, and then how many people we have in our class, and then we look at what we want our cost recovery to be. So we kind of look at that and then set those fees from there. So. With that being said, these are the recommendations we like to make this year, and then that would be modeled in the budget, which would then be discussed at Ways and Means and approved by the Board of Aldermen.
So are you not making any recommendations to change the event pavilion rental?
We are not. We looked at that. We looked at pretty hard, but we feel like at least this year we're right in line with some of those other type of bigger pavilions. And we don't want to price ourselves out, especially for residents. We looked at maybe doing something for non-residents, but we hit them pretty hard last year. So we feel like we're a good spot. We will probably most likely do it in 28.
Questions, one for the ice rink. There's the daily fee for resident and senior. Is there a non-resident rate as well? Is
Yeah,
that the
non-resident
same?
rates went up last year.
Okay.
And so those, when we talk around and look at all the other municipalities, those seem to be in line with everyone else. And the residents were a little bit lagging behind. So last year we increased for the non-residents and then found out that we're lagging behind in residents. And again, it's a little bit helps.
And then the second one was regarding the tennis or the basketball courts and the volleyball courts. Are those staying the same?
Those are staying the same. We looked at those. Those are pretty well in line with everything else until you got into a private indoor facility, which we obviously don't have. So when you looked at those type of indoor volleyball courts and basketball courts, that's where you saw the big difference. But outdoor municipal courts and even outdoor like con-court sports, they were right in line.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, from us, Eric, I guess you're just looking for some type of support, because I guess this will be taken up during the budgeting process.
Correct.
Ways and Means.
Yeah, so typically what the Public Works approves the recommendations and we model it into the budget.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Great, thank you.
Move on to some more fees, sanitation fees.
Yeah, as part of the budgeting process, I was looking at, there's only a couple of revenues that would be associated with public works. So we have household collections, which would be like picking up a couch or a stove or something of that nature. And then there are some optional fees. So like if you wanted twice a week trash instead of just the normal once, or if you wanted one of the more, I guess, the valet services, they're listed as rear yard pickup, but it's basically where the can is outside the garage or area by the house. We pick it up, dump it at the truck, bring it back. So that actually has a fee associated with it. I had put together a spreadsheet to kind of show myself what the revenues were typically doing. Went back to like 2015 all the way to present, and they're hovering right around, say, $25,000 a year with all of that, households and the optional services. So then I did a little deeper dive and looked at different trash providers. So I looked at Clayton, Chesterfield, U-City, St. Peters, O'Fallon, Kirkwood, St. Charles, and in private sector, I'm able to find stuff from the county. Waste Connections is in District 1 of the county, and Republic is in District 2. So I put together the table. Over on the left-hand side, I showed what Brentwood currently has for different categories, what we currently charge, and then what I'm proposing. So the lowest fee right now is $15. That would be like a barbecue grill or say like a lawnmower. The most expensive would be a mechanical system. So like if you wanted to get rid of your hot water heater, or air conditioner, you can leave it at the curb, pay the $25 in advance, and we pick it up on the respective Friday for your pickup. Most of the other entities I looked at, they use a flat fee rather than trying to distinguish between a chair and say like a hot water heater. It's a flat fee across the board. Like U City, it's $30. If you look at St. Charles, it's, most of it's included except for like an appliance or electronics. Waste Connections has a little bit of the same number for most categories and then a little different for the higher end stuff. Also looked at, like I said, St. Peter's, O'Fallon, and Kirkwood, and it seems that they use across the board pricing as well. St. Peter's and O'Fallon, the reason why it's like 15 or 20 for, say, St. Peter's is 15 is for the residents, 20 would be non-residents because they have people in unincorporated areas of St. Peter's. Same thing with O'Fallon. So that's kind of how I arrived at that number. I don't know if you have specific questions about that and then want to move to the other part, which would be the optional services, or tackle them together.
Couple questions. Electronics, TV, radios, computers, can that not be used at recycling day?
You could save yourself the money if you brought it to one of our events, quarterly events.
Okay.
And the bonus is with the St. Louis County grant that we have previously had to do a surcharge on some of those items, but that's been covered with the St. Louis County grant this year. So, yes, you should.
And then on the exercise equipment, lawn mower, barbecue grill, if people figure out how to disassemble that in such a way it shoves in their trash can, then they don't pay? I'm trying to figure out, like, there's that price point between, like, you want people to
I know barbecue
dump
grills,
things,
people
but, like,
take,
also not.
like, put on Facebook free or whatever, you can
Okay.
get rid of it without having to pay. Lawnmowers, there's people that scrap those, but, like a garage door, like a actual door to a doorway, you can get rid of that. And, we pick those up all the time for the $15. I know with chairs, it doesn't distinguish between like one of those chairs and like a recliner. It's just 15. Some take more effort, some don't.
If it's small, you can just disassemble it.
If it were really small, yeah, you probably could just disassemble it. But certain things, I know people aren't going to mess with, like a vacuum cleaner. You're not probably going to break it down into small components. But
I was just wondering why we doubled some and then the electronics. I was thinking, like, can I just give this away for free?
yeah, these have been untouched since 2019. Resolution
Okay.
1127 set the rates. 7 years goes by, we look at this and see that we're kind of slipping compared to some of the comparators.
And on your comparable cities, are they don't all do their own trash pickup, correct?
The ones that do their own trash would be University City and Kirkwood. So they have their own collection centers. We don't. We send ours elsewhere, but they're able to collect at their yard, or they can send it directly to the dump. So they're a little different in that sense. They're also different in the sense that they charge for all services. Anything basic, if it's at the curb, you're paying. We don't. The only time we charge is if it's the one-off, like a household, or if it's an optional service, like twice a week trash pickup. If it's once a week yard waste, once a week recycling, once a week trash, it's $0 if it's at the curb. These other comparators, all of them charge something.
Go ahead and move along, Dan.
Yeah, and the optional services, we're pretty unique because most places don't give you the level of service that we do. So you can do the second weekly trash pickup, you can do a rear trash pickup once a week, you can do a rear trash pickup twice a week, and then we also offer either a senior citizen or medical discount. So when I looked at those same comparators, some don't list anything. I can't really figure it out without doing a lot more research. But like Frontenac does offer a discount for seniors, it's 15%. Clayton actually has strings tied to the discount. It's based on income. So it'll say, like, if you're single and you make under, say, $60,000, you might qualify. It's all broken out, whether it's single, married, and then the ranges. I think that's too complicated. Chesterfield's 15%. U-City is available. It doesn't have an exact dollar. You need to actually fill out a form to see if you qualify. St. Peter's didn't listed, O'Fallon not listed. St. Charles is actually based on income, and then Waste Connections and Republic for private side, they give you a 10% discount. Ours, as it stands right now, is at 50% discount. For the optional services, so the second weekly pickup, it's at $20. I had proposed 40 for the rear. Once a week, it's 23. I'd proposed 40, and then for the rear, twice a week, it's at 40. I propose no change. There's, I think only one person actually takes advantage of that service, so it's not a big deal. You know, there are a handful that use these optional services. I looked it up. It's like, say, 30-ish, 35. Most people can get by with just putting out a bigger cart, you know, 95, 96 gallon, and do once a week. There's a handful that, for whatever reason, they generate more trash. Maybe it's a bigger family or a home business. I'm not sure.
How many are taking up the senior discount?
I don't know. I'll have to check. I'm not real sure on that one. I know you can fill it out. There's a form, and I believe it's 65 years or older, or if you have a medical condition where, you know, you're unable to bring it for whatever reason, you can go ahead and apply for the discount. So I had put it kind of closer in line with these. I still made it higher. I thought maybe you'd want to do 25%. If you want to leave it the same, you could do that. This was just to get everything out there, talk about it as part of the budget process, and then ultimately I'd like to get it finalized, you know, through the process, and then make it effective, you know, January 1, just like the rest of the budget.
I was gonna say, I'm very comfortable with raising the prices, especially since they haven't been used in a while. With raising the prices though, we want to keep that senior medical discount somewhat similar so we don't use as much of our police force or our fire EMS services. I just know that one of the people, when they fell because they were taking out their trash. Or
And I'm
trying
willing
take out
to
their trash. So
leave it unchanged, you know, if you wanted to. It was just,
I'm open to other
It was my-
suggestions, but I'm just thinking
Yeah.
like sometimes I've seen a few neighbors over time where I'm like, oh, they should not be moving that. So and maybe advertise it if they don't know they.
We are getting ready to
Yeah.
advertise it, so you want to talk about that?
I mean, if it's a cost thing and we need to do it to make our budget, I absolutely respect we have to stay on budget and we need to do that. But I just
yeah, there's apparently
raising the
some
rates
people that,
and cutting the discount at the same time feels.
yeah, that's where I was kind of torn. That's why I was like, I'm not selling any of these as a hard sale. It was just an observation. That one, you know, I'm willing to leave because there's not that many people that take advantage of it. I don't believe we can get an exact head count on the senior and medical.
Not a burden on the service and it's not causing any problems on our cost points.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like you had like 500 or 1,000
Just
people
look at
sign
it.
up
just-
for it.
and we just-
Everything holistically.
Yeah.
Recommendation for no change to that.
I'm okay with all the price increases. I would motion that we maybe keep the senior citizen medical discount at least the same for next year. Doubling the price of the rear trash pickup.
I'll second that.
Just the one, okay, great, yep,
The optional services?
yep. No questions, yeah, like,
All in favor, say aye.
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 Direction on that aspect of it, Dan?
Yes.
Looking to just have some support as far as this will then be taken up by Ways and Means again during the budget process?
Yes, and what I also plan on doing is like a narrative, like procedure, because there is none right now that I can find. So like, since we started charging in advance, that's something I wanted to put in there, like, because some people hadn't taken advantage of a household pickup in years, and we're used to the old way was you just kind of put it out, called, and, you know, told them an address, and then we picked it up and sent you a bill. It's not that way, it hasn't been that way in over a year now, where you can either go through MyGov, you can call somebody here at City Hall, they'll take the payment up front, they send us a ticket to Public Works, we schedule it and we pick it up, it's already paid for. So one of the questions that's woven into this is, with refunds, sometimes we have to issue a refund because the item got picked up. You know, we didn't pick it up, we go out there, we have our list, we have, say it's like, for tomorrow, it's like 14 tickets, but we went out there to do the service. We drove the vehicle out there, backhoe, whatever, to pick up, say it's a recliner, it's gone. Then we don't see it, we write on the ticket, not a curb, move on. Sometimes people take it and then they ask for a refund. Other times people don't put it out, but then they'll tell us they didn't put it out, but they already paid, so then we just pick it up the next week. So this was trying to put a narrative, you know, something distinct. So like if you didn't cancel it, you know, you already paid, you wouldn't necessarily get a refund if we drove out there unless you forgot and then you put it out and you already paid for it. But, you know,
Policy now.
right now we just refund it. Like if you put out a lawnmower tonight, I go out there at 9 o'clock tomorrow and it's gone, maybe somebody just drove by, I want that lawnmower, they took it and that's it.
I know there's probably administrative work in giving these refunds, but a lot, people put stuff out and it gets
Right.
picked up. And so I don't think they should have to pay the city $30 for an item that the city didn't take, the city didn't incur the cost, and somebody drove by and took it. So I don't know how many there are each week that aren't actually there, and if it's one or two, if you could call the people and find out if they just forgot, and then you just keep the check till next month and put them on for next month. But I don't think we should charge people if some other person comes through and takes their stuff.
Right. Yeah, I didn't, and it doesn't say anything right now. It's like, well, we need to be clear, you know, if we wanted a refund, here are the steps to follow. If they're always going to get a refund, then that's fine too, but probably needs to be written down somewhere.
What I heard was that people, if they are able to confirm, which they often do, that somebody else took it, they call finance and ask for a refund.
Right.
And so staff is saying, yeah, like what you said, there's some administrative costs, so we want to keep some of it.
Right,
I think was
yeah.
what the recommendation is. I can't imagine it's a lot. It doesn't really sit that well.
It doesn't happen often. It's, you know, once or twice a month that,
I mean, I had something that, and it was the first time and I let it go, but like somebody else took it and I would have been upset had I not gotten a refund. I mean, maybe the process needs to be, if you want a refund and
Call
it
a
gets
day in
taken, you
advance.
need to call City Hall and put the onus back on the residents. But I think if the city doesn't take it and the city doesn't deal with the trash, this resident should not have to pay.
They are calling City Hall and asking for their money back. So maybe we leave it as is.
Working, doesn't it?
yes. It definitely works like the payment in advance. And it's like, again, if they just forget, they go out of town and, oh, shoot, I forgot to put that ironing board out there. All they do is call us. We still have the ticket that said not at curb. And then we don't even make them wait, you know, another 4 weeks. We just put it in the rotation for that week. You know, it's not a big deal to just add it. We're only 2 square miles, so.
It's not that many
No.
happening, so, you know, I don't know why.
Okay. Yep.
Support of the committee. Process, but that we approve.
Yeah, I'll write a narrative, put that with the new schedule, change the discount that I had at, you know, 25% to 50, you know, take that highlight off. To indicate
I
that
make
there's
the
no
motion
change.
as the fees, forward on to the, I guess, Ways and Means, the fees as presented by Dan. With the changes on optional services.
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
So the motion that we made before was only for the price increase, and now this is for the optional services?
No, the motion that was made before was to keep the optional services as they were, I believe, was it?
Well,
It
it
was
was
to keep
for
the
the-
senior discount at
I'm
50%.
sorry, yeah.
It was for, my understanding was sanitation price increases excluding the changes to the senior discounts.
Right,
And so this one is for,
forwarding on the,
forwarded on to Ways and Means? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
All right, thanks, Dan. Move on to citizen comment. No one's here in the room. Anybody online?
No one online.
Seeing no other business, we're adjourned.